Greetings, my name is Stephen. I'm one of the team at Bath Abbey. Can I introduce to you Andy? Andy is the minister of Manor Street Baptist Church here in Bath and is also my neighbour. And Andy has written this book. It's called Infused with Life, Exploring God's Gift of Rest in a World of Busyness. I guess many of us recognise that world of busyness. Andy, why did you write this book?
I wrote it because, like many of you, rest is something that I struggle with. You know, I don't live in a cave somewhere, detached from the world. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a pastor of an inner city church. But the kind of patterns that I had, or lack of patterns of rest in my life, really made it hard for me to take time to allow God's life to kind of infuse my own, to really rest. Rest for me was all about recovering just to go straight back into the same rhythms and patterns that I had before. But none of that was really bringing me a deeper sense of God's life. So exploring the book was a way really of me to make sense of that for myself, but also to try and help others to make sense of it as well.
So if, put you on the spot, if there was one headline message you think that is in this book, what would it be?
For me, it's that rest is not about recovery in that sense. It is an opportunity, a space in which God can bless us with the life that He always intended for us to have. And that will look different for each person. So to say it's got to be like this because this person does it this way, it doesn't have to be like that. It's about understanding how God has made you, and about being courageous and consistent, I think, in how you create that space in your own life in your own way.
Rest as opportunity, I get that, thank you. And of course, the moment we're dealing with all the challenges of coronavirus and lockdowns and what have you, I mean, is this a book for some reason we should be maybe reading at this time in particular?
I mean, I think that the issues that the book deals with very much are relevant now. The book came out November of last year, 2019, when none of us had heard of coronavirus. But what we've experienced, and what I certainly experienced in the first lockdown, and as we go into this one now, is a disruption to the normal patterns and rhythms of life, and where we find our value. For many of us, often we find our value in what we do or the work that we have, and as that for some people was stripped away, as people were furloughed or people couldn't go into work, or maybe people lost their jobs, people really struggled to find that sense of identity, and so we have this opportunity to readdress the rhythms and the patterns that we have, to create more space for God's life to come into ours through this gift of rest. But also the challenge as we came out of that, and as we come out of the next one, will be that we don't just grab hold of the same old patterns and rhythms that we had before, because that's where we found our value. To really allow God's life to infuse us, and as that happens, for us to find new ways and new rhythms and new patterns to sustain us. So it's part of who we are, not just something we do to get over the week we've had.
Yes. Okay, well, again, let me put you on the spot. I mean, a world of business, I imagine your household, like mine, your work life, your life generally, is pretty full. Yeah. I mean, what does rest actually look like in your household?
Definitely, it is a busy life. We have a small son who is full of energy, and work is always very busy. For me, it's rest is about making sure that there is time in every day where I can connect in with the life that God has for me. So that will be time in quiet. It's time out in the outside, in nature and creation. That really infuses me with God's life. And one of the challenges I give to people, and I try to do this as well, is that when you boil the kettle, and this is something you can try at home today, when you boil the kettle, if you're anything like me, then what you'll do is you'll go and busy yourself doing something else. You'll notice, oh, I need to tidy that bit of the kitchen, or I need to do this. But what I want to challenge you to do is to just stand there as your kettle boils If you watch it, it won't boil any quicker. But if you stand there and just take some breaths, maybe look out the window, just be connected to who you are, to the space around you, to God. And if you do that every time you boil the kettle, that will be a start. And actually, I think you'll notice that this is really blessing me, and how can I find other ways to do that? Little and often, I think, is better than some grand plan to make sure you take one whole day a week and so on. If you can do that, great. But if not, little and often. And that's what I try and do. We try and do at home. So
the opportunity of resting at the kettle.
Yes. And you get a cup of coffee afterwards as well, which is great.
I won't tell you what I was doing while I boiled the kettle earlier to make this cup of tea, but thank you for that. That's a good challenge. So, where can we get this book?
You can get it on Eden, the Christian bookshop Eden, but you can also get it from me, and I think my email will come across the bottom of the screen, and I'm happy to sign it for you. Happy to, if you live locally, drop it through your door. So if you want to contact me, then you can do it at the email address and get it from me direct.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. And can I encourage us all to take this opportunity, while we're in such different rhythms of life, to explore the whole question of rest and what it might look like, to help us enjoy God's world and help us to reconnect. Infused with life. Recommended. Thank you.
Thank you.